All right, fractions, decimals, and percent conversions. This is where you need to say, oh yeah, I can do that. So first part we're going to work on is decimals and fractions. So remember, we need to read this decimal correctly and write that as a fraction. So the first one we have here is 8/10. So I'm going to have 8/10. Then I need to simplify. Remember, that is the most important part here. And so divide by 2, which is going to give me a final answer of 4/5. Moving on to the next, I have 28/100, where if I look and find my greatest common factor to divide by, I'm going to see that it's 4. So I would do that on the top and bottom to get 7/25. And then my very last and final problem here, 925 thousandths. And remember yesterday I had said we should look to always use 25 when we have numbers this large. And so 925 divided by 25 is 37, and this is 40. I know 1,000 divided by 25 is 40, and so if I just took 3 off of there, like 1,000 subtract 925, I get 75, so I know that that's 3 less. And so that's how I was able to do that mentally. So those are my answers for these problems. If we go on to the next one, yesterday we didn't do any with a whole number there. So we have 9 85/100. Well, I'm just going to worry about my decimal at the moment. So 85/100. And then divide by my 5, which equals 17/20. Then I need to make sure I bring my 9 along. So 9 17/20 is my final answer. So it takes approximately 4 68/100 quarts of milk to make a pound of cheese curds. And we all love cheese curds. And so you need to express this amount as a mixed number in simplest form. Well, again, so 4, and I'm going to have 68/100. I need to divide by 4, which is going to end up giving me 17/25. And again, I need to make sure that I bring my whole number with. So 4 17/25 ends up being my mixed number and my final answer. So moving on to the next one, we're going to go from fraction to a decimal. And while you remember, we are supposed to take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. So if I have 7 divided by 20, I'm going to add zeros. Bring my decimal point straight up. 20 goes into 73 times to get 60. Subtract, bring down my 0. 20 goes into 105 times. So this equals 35/100. Next, we have an improper fraction. An improper fraction is totally fine. We can still divide that. 7 divided by 5. I'm going to make sure I add 1 0 to start. 5 goes into 7 one time. When I subtract, I get a 2. Bring down my 0. 5 goes into 24 times. So the correct answer is 1 4/10 for that. If you really wanted to, you can change this to a mixed number. So I could have done 1 2/5. And if I know what 2/5 is as a decimal, I would then be able to write it as 1 4/10. So you might not always need to do the division, but if you need to do it, it's there for you and it will work every single time. Then my last, I have 12 divided by 250. I'm going to add 2 zeros because I know I'm going to at least need to. And it goes in here 0 times. And so I'm at 4 times to get 1,000. Then I'm left with 200, add a 0 and bring it down. And I know that's going to go in then 8 times. So I'm going to have 48 thousandths is my final answer for 12 over 250. Going to my last examples, we're taking a look at 65 over 130. And so I'm going to do 65 divided by 130. So I need to add a 0. And not really sure how many times. I can kind of do some mental math. 260, 390. So I'm going to say 5. And so 130 times 5, 650. So that's exactly what I needed. So this ends up being 5/10, which we all know is 1/2. So final one here, as a word problem. Last week, Kohl's gained 1 6400 points in the stock market. Express this gain as a fraction in simplest form. So again, remember, I just need to worry about the decimal. I can bring the other number along with it after I finish reducing. If I divide both top and bottom by 4, I end up with 16/25, and bring my 1 along, and that would be my final answer. So if you said, oh yeah, I can do that with each one of these problems, you are going to be perfectly fine on your assignment for today.